Leftwing. Let's bring in Democratic strategist Nicole Brenner-Schmitz and a Republican strategist, Bobby Eberle, to join us here. I mean, a lot of excitement, obviously, inside of that rally. It felt like it did months ago when we were covering the campaign. But, Bobby, this is a speed by which we have not seen historically in a presidency. Are we going to be seeing more rapid-fire action over the next 4 years? Do you predict that?
Oh, I think this is the preview, right? This is what we voted for, and this is what we're getting. But I got to admit, you know, and I'm sure Nicole has a perspective. I'm kind of surprised at the speed in which this was going. I mean, I got my county party together on Monday. We were watching the inauguration, and everyone is so excited. And then, you know, Monday evening he's signing orders, and Tuesday a flurry of orders. And showing the American people what the presidency can actually do. I think that's what's taken America by storm, is like, wow, he can do that, he can do this, he's delivering on these promises, and it is full speed ahead. I think he sees that he has this term, he doesn't have to run, he only has to govern, and he's got the foot down on the throttle, and he's not letting up.
And, you know, I have to speak about those executive orders and actions. I mean, an unprecedented number, hundreds of them. Nicole, do you expect legal challenges on most of them, on some of them? And obviously we're seeing one on the birthright citizenship fight. But do you think that will eclipse the amount of momentum and victory he's having right now?
I mean, I think we can absolutely expect a whole host of legal challenges to so many. The most important one being what you just mentioned, the birthright one. This is not simply an executive order, many of which we see, no matter what party comes in, that just revokes what a previous administration, if it was different political leadership than them, represented. But the birthright one is going down to our Constitution. It's not just a matter of what laws Congress has passed or what executive orders a previous president has signed. That goes to our Constitution. So that's going to be the one that is, I think, the most grounded in the legal system, and certainly is going to get so much attention because it really goes to the core of being an American and what this country is built on. I mean, you just can't argue this country is a country of immigrants, and that means different things in different stages. Some were dragged over on slave ships. Some were welcomed through the time in Ellis Island when we had monstrous numbers. Americans do seem to think we have an issue right now with immigration. I think the Democrats and the Republicans agree that we need to come together and have a conversation and figure out what is going on right now and what the legal path to asylum and immigration is. But I think what Democrats want is to not confuse nationalism with patriotism.
You know, I'm glad you brought up birthright citizenship and tying it to slavery, because that is why birthright citizenship was included in our Constitution. There are a lot of people interpreting this as completely different than what the founders would have wanted to see in our country, with people just being able to cross over, have a baby, and then be deemed citizens. Bobby, I know a federal judge has already blocked this birthright citizenship order by President Trump in one particular state. But do you think that more people are going to be surprised if he actually wins in this particular case?
Well, I think there's a process. I think Nicole's absolutely right. This is not something that you can just mandate through executive order. But here's the thing, is that is the trigger, right? You have to, if there's those that believe, as I do, that the founders did not intend that someone could plan a pregnancy, or you could have some people come over that might necessarily even like the country, but then come over, sneak in illegally, have a baby, and that baby is a citizen, and the parents aren't citizens or legal permanent residents or anything, that to me is nonsensical. But you have to get the ball rolling somewhere, and that is the executive order. That triggers the court cases, the judges' rulings, and ultimately it'll likely end up in the Supreme Court, where they either rule that there could be some kind of law, or the Constitution means they clarify, or the amendment process. It's going to lead to one of those two things, but it had to start somewhere, and I'm glad he's pushing this, because I know that there's great many of Americans, probably the majority, that doesn't think someone should just sneak in here, have a baby, and that is a citizen.
Well, and I was watching TikTok videos just, as you scroll, and just a couple of people just saying, citizenship should be earned, not something that's automatic because you're born here. And that's an interesting discussion. But Nicole, getting to the damage and the tours of both North Carolina and California by President Trump and the First Lady, President Trump going so far as proposing to get rid of FEMA while visiting North Carolina. Can he do that?
Look, I mean, it is aggravating to watch these tours, frankly. Americans are people who we live together in both of our parties. These are all of his constituents. It is mind-boggling and disappointing to watch him throw politics at disaster relief. I agree that there is always an opportunity after disasters to take a look at what has gone well and what has not, what problems may have lent themselves to the issues currently facing those places or not. But to put strings on things to suggest that FEMA is simply just an inept in its whole is devastating to people. It is heartbreaking to watch. What we need to do is say, these are Americans that are struggling. Let's get them the help they need. This idea that he has put forth by saying, let's get rid of FEMA, is that FEMA is somehow the antithesis of what the state is doing. It is there to supplement and help what a state might not have in addition to. It is an and also. So let's make sure that these constituents, these Americans, are getting what they need in this time of such dire circumstances, no matter what sort of red or blue state that they live in.
I have to ask you, Bobby, one more question because we're almost out of time. And it's about this situation that came through just into our newsroom today. And this is about the inspector generals being fired quietly by the Trump administration. But it's resounding, even Chuck Grassley saying this could potentially be illegal. Potentially violating a law that requires giving Congress a 30-day notice and detailed reasons for firing. Chuck Schumer weighing in. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think this goes to one of the other core messages from President Trump is that cleaning out the government, cleaning out the deep state, and even FEMA is an example. Yes, we want to provide aid to the people, but this was an organization that was weaponized and where they avoided people with Trump or MAGA signs. They avoided those. That's not equal representation, and that's not delivering aid to people that are suffering regardless of situation. That was politicized, and we need to clean house. And if that Trump wants to start there, Congress will push back, but that is his motive. That is his agenda, is to clean out the deep state and make it representative of the people.
Nicole Brenner-Schmitz, Bobby Eberle, thank you. And thank you for standing by because President Trump actually came to the podium right as we were starting the show. So it was perfect that you were able to stick around. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.